Taliban and Pakistani forces have traded fire across the Afghan border, with Taliban officials saying their forces captured 3 Pakistani military outposts. Afghanistan says it has killed dozens of Pakistani soldiers in overnight border operations. This is now by far the biggest terrorism threat that Pakistan has been facing in over a decade. The war between the Taliban and Pakistan has begun, and within hours, the Taliban has claimed to kill more than 58 Pakistani soldiers and seized control of nearly 25 vital border posts. According to the Taliban, this is retaliation against Pakistani airstrikes in the capital of Kabul. What started as a border skirmish now threatens to explode into total war as both sides look to destroy each other. International powers are paying close attention because thousands of U.S.-made armored vehicles, machine guns, and stockpiles of ammunition were left behind in Afghanistan in 2021. These lethal assets have now become the Taliban's arsenal, while Pakistan is fighting with newly acquired Chinese-made weapons. Another critical factor in this developing crisis is the Saudi-Pakistan Defense Pact signed weeks ago. Under this agreement, both nations promised collective security, meaning an attack on one is treated as an attack on both. Saudi Arabia explicitly pledged to defend Pakistan from external threats, exactly like the one Pakistan is facing now. This means the conflict has the potential to ignite another war in the Middle East, right as Hamas and Israel sign a ceasefire. It all began on October 11th, when Taliban fighters unleashed a storm of gunfire across the Durand line, catching thousands of Pakistani soldiers by surprise. Unverified audio leaks claimed many abandoned their posts almost immediately, while others were buried under the rubble of their own outposts. Afghanistan and Pakistan share a massive 1,622 kilometers long border, known as the Durand Line, a colonial era boundary. Recognized internationally, but never accepted by Afghanistan. Every few months, fighters cross and recross it, exchanging gunfire before tensions cool down. But not this time. Just before midnight, Taliban fighters stormed into Pakistan in at least 7 different regions. From the southern hills of Helmand province to the rugged mountains of Kunar and Nangarhar in the east. So far, Pakistan has not activated its pact with Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis have only issued cautious statements urging calm and dialogue. In the immediate aftermath, neither the Taliban nor Pakistan admitted how the conflict began. However, just 72 hours earlier, explosions rocked Afghanistan's capital. Kabul witnesses reported sudden and intense Pakistani airstrikes at multiple locations, including Abdul Haq Square. Other provinces such as Khost, Jalalabad, and Paktika also came under attack. According to Afghan sources, these airstrikes targeted Noor Wali Mehsud, a senior leader of Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), also known as the Pakistani Taliban. The TTP is an extremist group based primarily in Afghanistan but active across the border in Pakistan. Since the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, Pakistan hoped the Afghan Taliban's rule would stabilize its western border and help suppress TTP militants. Instead, the opposite happened. The Pakistani Taliban grew stronger, bolder, and more organized. Hundreds of TTP fighters returned from hiding in Afghanistan to Pakistan's tribal regions after being expelled years earlier during Pakistan's 2014 military operations. One report later revealed that the TTP received substantial logistical and operational support from the Taliban government, essentially confirming that Kabul is enabling their activities. Ironically, Pakistan once provided similar safe havens for terrorists, including Osama bin Laden, and even trained and funded the Taliban during their early years. Now that decision has come back to haunt them. Throughout 2022, Pakistan's government, first under Imran Khan, then Shehbaz Sharifu, attempted peace talks with the TTP, mediated by the Afghan Taliban in Kabul. However, these negotiations failed. Though a temporary ceasefire was declared, it collapsed quickly. The TTP accused Pakistan of breaking promises such as releasing prisoners and withdrawing troops, while Pakistan accused the TTP of using the ceasefire to rearm. By late 2022, the TTP officially ended the ceasefire and launched a fresh wave of nationwide terror attacks. A string of bombings and ambushes followed, including a suicide attack in Peshawar's police headquarters that killed nearly 100 officers, the deadliest attack in years. In 2024, Pakistan suffered over 2,500 casualties from militant violence, mostly along its western border. In retaliation, Pakistan conducted several airstrikes targeting TTP hideouts in Afghanistan. One of the earliest and most controversial strikes occurred in April 2022, when Pakistani jets bombed Khost and Kunar provinces, killing 41 civilians, mostly women and children. The Taliban condemned the attacks as blatant violations of Afghan sovereignty. From there, tit-for-tat violence escalated almost monthly. By 2023, Pakistan's airstrikes inside Afghanistan became routine. The Taliban responded with ambushes and artillery fire. But the animosity between the two nations goes back decades. After 9/11s, Pakistan, once the Taliban's main backer, was forced to side with the United States, allowing U.S. drone strikes and supply routes. This sudden reversal enraged many Pakistanis and gave rise to the TTP in 2007, which accused Pakistan of betraying Islam by helping America. Between 2008 and 2014, the TTP launched relentless terror attacks across Pakistan, culminating in the 2014 Peshawar school massacre where over 140 students and teachers were killed. This prompted Pakistan's military to launch Operation Zarb-e-Azb, destroying many militant strongholds. However, surviving TTP members fled into Afghanistan, where they regrouped under the protection of sympathetic Taliban factions. When the Taliban regained power in 2021, they sought revenge for Pakistan's betrayal after 9/11s. They reignited tensions over the Durand line, a colonial border Afghanistan never recognized. Pakistan's decision to fence the border in the mid-2010s further infuriated the Taliban, who saw it as an attempt to divide Pashtun tribal lands. Since 2021, Taliban forces have repeatedly attacked Pakistani border posts, torn down fences, and exchanged fire with Pakistani troops. By 2025, both nations had deployed thousands of troops along the border. Despite warnings from Pakistan's civilian leaders, real power in the country rests with its military. In June 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump met privately with Pakistan's Army Chief, General Asim Munir, without any civilian officials present, underscoring the military's control over national policy. On October 9, 2025, Pakistan carried out an airstrike in Kabul, targeting TTP leader Noor Wali Mehsud. Afghan sources claimed the strike was successful, but the TTP denied his death, releasing an audio clip as proof. Within hours, the Taliban accused Pakistan of violating Afghan sovereignty and vowed retaliation. 2 days later, on October 11th, Taliban units launched their counterattack, storming Pakistani border posts and killing dozens of soldiers. For all their bluster, the Taliban cannot sustain a long-term conventional war against Pakistan's powerful military. Pakistan knows pushing too far could destabilize the entire region. The conflict's root issues: Taliban protection of TTP militants, Pakistan's cross-border airstrikes, and the unresolved Durand line dispute remain volatile and unresolved. And while both sides prepare for further escalation, China finds itself in a delicate position. Pakistan has long been China's closest regional ally, tied through billions in trade and infrastructure projects. But Afghanistan, rich in lithium, copper, and rare earth minerals, is also vital to China's future. Since the Taliban's return, China has built strong economic and diplomatic ties with Kabul. Now, with war looming, Beijing is caught between two allies, Pakistan and the Taliban, knowing that siding with either risks losing the other. It's a lose-lose situation, and China knows it.